Hi, I'm your kid critic Jack Mooney, and welcome to the Jack Mooney Show. And in today's video, we are ranking the Star Wars movie. There's 10 live-action films, so we're going to go from 10 to 1. And I'm going to split it into two videos. This first one is going to go from 10 to 6, and then the next video, which will come out in a few days, will be from 5 to 1. The only reason why is because I'm revisiting each Star Wars film, and I pretty much know half the list. It's just like the other half is the movies I really like, so I need to rewatch those and really make a tough decision. So I'm going to give you guys 10 to 6 today, so without further ado, let's start off with number 10. So number 10 is going to go to a movie that some people either say is 9 or 10. I think it's the worst, and that is Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. This is the worst Star Wars movie. It's almost unwatchable in a way. Lucas tries to make a romance story, and he just fails miserably. Just because I also think he's not that great of a director. Star Wars, the original, was incredible, but I feel like he's decreased throughout the years. So he can't handle his actors, and also, I don't think the cast is phenomenal. Hayden Christensen gives a terrible performance. Natalie Portman, who is an Academy Award winner, just seems like she's just not giving it her all, and it's just due to bad acting and lazy writing, and it's not a great movie. Even some people were like, "Oh, the ending's great, Yoda with a lightsaber," and yes, the action is cool. It's just that I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch that movie just so I can see that scenes." I gotta sit through 2 hours to get to that. The movie's just boring. It's just a kind of a dumb Star Wars movie. There's no point. It's a boring story. I'm trying to protect Padme. I don't like the movie at all. I try to stay clear from watching it when I need to. All the other movies, if I have to, I'll watch them. And some movies I'll gladly watch them. But this movie, it's going to take a lot for me to sit through Attack of the Clones. Yeah, I hate this movie. It's terrible. Okay, so number 9 is going to go to Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. A lot of people hate on this movie, and believe me, it's not a great movie. But I think that there's still enough good to make it better than Episode 2, such as the pod racing scene. That is such an intense and exciting scene. I love that scene. And then also the end battle with Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan. It's just exhilarating, and it's a really fun time. Darth Maul is an okay villain. He's nowhere near as good as Vader. But just for action purposes, yeah, he's pretty cool, but he's not developed at all. But that's about it. The movie suffers from being boring. We lived through this original trilogy that were exciting and fun space adventures, Star Wars. And then we come back, and the opening scroll for Episode 1 just talks about trade confederations, and it's just a snooze. I tried watching this recently, and it's really boring. And then there's some bad elements too. Once again, the little Anakin, he's just terrible. Jar Jar Binks gets annoying. But what I do appreciate is the world building. I know the characters in the underwater cities of Naboo, they're a little on the annoying side, but I like how it looks and that Lucas is setting up this huge world parts that we've never seen before. So I appreciate that. But as far as this one goes, it's boring. It's only got a few good scenes in it, and it's not my go-to Star Wars movie. It's just, I don't know, it's very disappointing, especially for true fans of Star Wars who have been with it since '77. This is, not Lucas's best. So, number 8, I had a very difficult time choosing what I was going to put there because I had 3 movies that I was unsure of their spots on the list. But ultimately, I had to put Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, at the number 8 spot. Yeah, I watched this a couple nights ago, and I really tried. I really tried to like it. And it's just fine. I remember the last time I viewed this, which is probably a couple years ago, I really hated this movie. Like, I did not like it at all. So this time I found more I liked in it. I'd say the first half hour is pretty fun. Them trying to track down General Grievous, kill Count Dooku, rescue the Emperor. That's all fun. I really enjoyed that. It's just when they get back and Anakin reunites with Padme, it's just so cringy, and the dialogue is terrible, and the acting once again misses the mark. It's unconvincing to see Hayden Christensen play Anakin, this confused and emotional character. He just does not pull it off. It just doesn't work. And even Ewan McGregor isn't always great. I mean, most of the time he's pretty good. It's just that sometimes he can't work with the material that George Lucas is providing because he's not a good writer and he's just an okay director. I will say visually, it's really stunning. The score, John Williams is at his best. I love the score to this movie. Um, I like the part where Obi-Wan tries to track down General Grievous when he goes into hiding. That's kind of the stuff I want to see when they do the Obi-Wan Solo movie. So, but yeah, the movie's fine. I don't like the ending at all. I know people are like, that's the best part of the movie. It's just the CGI does not live up, and I just don't find it convincing with those two characters. CGI Darth Vader in the end's pretty bad. I do like when Obi-Wan delivers the babies to different families, but this is the best of the prequels, but it's nowhere as near as good as the other Star Wars movies. So yeah, number 8, Revenge of the Sith. So number 7 is going to go to a movie that you either love or you hate. And I'm more on the hate end, so number 7 goes to Star Wars The Last Jedi. The most recent episode for Star Wars. And when I first saw the movie, I came out and I was like, oh my god, I loved it. It's one of the best Star Wars movies, better than The Force Awakens. I love what Rian Johnson did. And yeah, I knew that there were negatives in it, but I just tried to forget about them and focus on what I liked. And then I saw it a second time, a couple days later. First off, I fell asleep in the theater on IMAX screens, and then B, I realized that the movie isn't very good. It's boring. That's one thing. The acting isn't spectacular, and the writing isn't either. And I tried to right before Solo came out. I'm like, oh, just watch the most recent Star Wars movie, get hyped on Star Wars, and I couldn't make it through it because the movie is just so dry and boring. And I think that leads to like all these lead characters, and that I don't really like any of them. And I know Leia and Luke, but I gotta say, I do not like how they were handled in this movie. Leia gets in like a coma and she's not in most of the movie. I thought that was a stupid mistake. And it was laughable when she had like the Force thing flying through space. That just was just like unnecessary in a way. Luke, this was not Luke Skywalker in my opinion. I think that Rian Johnson, I think he wrote the screenplay, did a horrible job representing Luke. I do not think he would ever become that. Some might argue that he would, but I just don't like how it was handled. And yeah, there were little cool things Rian Johnson did with the directing. I get that. It's just that I think the movie has enough problems going on that I'm not going to say, oh, I liked the movie because of those. Like the scene where she's snapping in the mirrors, that's a fun scene. Yoda appearing, that's fun. It's just that characters I don't really care about and relationship, the relationship with Finn and that new girl he meets, I think her name was Rose, it's just I'm not buying it. And, I'm looking forward to episode 9. It's just, I don't like this entry in the series. It was very disappointing for me. So number 6 is going to go to the most recent Star Wars movie, and that is Solo: A Star Wars Story. What a messy movie. Very troubled production, but it's okay. The first 30 minutes or so of this movie, I was worried. But as soon as the team, Solo, Chewie, Woody Harrelson's character, they all go to meet Paul Bettany, that's when I was like, okay, this movie has potential, starting at that point. And Paul Bettany, by the way, did a phenomenal job. Only in 2 scenes, and he stole the show. Speaking on characters, Alden Ehrenreich, he did an okay job. He's no Harrison Ford, but he was a lot better than I thought he would be. Chewie, great as always. I love Chewie. It's one of the best Star Wars characters. Woody Harrelson, he was Woody Harrelson. He did a good job. It wasn't anything like, I didn't think he was going to be bad, so I wasn't surprised. Donald Glover, he did a pretty good job. I'd say he did a better job portraying Lando than Alden did portraying Solo. And that's what I really liked. I liked the chemistry between those two. The scenes where they'd be gambling, like at the very end when Han got the Millennium, that was fun. And this movie isn't like as serious as the other Star Wars movies. You can just go in with your brain turned off and just have a good time. But yeah, the visuals are really great in this movie. I love how they portray the Millennium. Like the flying scenes are just dazzling. But that's about it, I would say, with the positives. Yeah, the Kessel Run's okay. I just think that there's just issues with the story. Again, it's in a way choppy. Like I said, the first half hour, it's just like these cut scenes. Like Solo running away, Solo joining Imperial forces, Solo doing some mission on a train. It just, there's issues, and you can tell that there's issues. But I will say that there's more good than bad. I'm going to go try to watch it again, but this is an okay Star Wars movie. There's definitely better, so yeah.